Florida woman shoots, kills man trying to break into her home. The sheriff said the shooting appeared perfectly legal. A Florida woman shot and killed a man who returned to her home after an argument early Saturday and tried to use a tire iron to smash his way inside, authorities said. The shooting happened just after 6 a.m. in an unincorporated area of Auburndale in Polk County, Sheriff Grady Judd said at a news conference. Judd said it appeared the shooter was perfectly legal to defend her home from a burglar. You have a right to protect yourself in your home and be free from home invaders, armed burglars, and certainly he was armed with a tire iron and making an attempt to come in through the window, Judd said. She stopped him. She stopped him permanently. The homeowner and the suspect were known to each other, the sheriff said. They had gone out the night before to a pool hall in Lakeland with another man and a woman who was the suspect's live-in girlfriend. The group of four returned to the woman's home around 4 a.m. after stopping at a liquor store for a bottle of whiskey. The suspect and his girlfriend got into a heated argument around 6 a.m., and the two men left the home, the sheriff's office said in a news release. The two women stayed at the home. The suspect drove to the end of the street with his friend before deciding to turn around to get his girlfriend to go home with him, Judd said. The suspect banged and kicked the front door, demanding to see his girlfriend. The other man tried to get the suspect to leave, but the suspect grabbed a tire iron from his car and smashed a window of the home. The suspect was yelling and threatened to kill the two women, the sheriff's office said. Sheriff Grady Judd said the woman appeared to be within her legal rights to shoot the man who was using a tire iron to break into her home. Polk County Sheriff's Office. The woman who owned the home got a handgun and fired at the suspect, who died immediately at the scene, Judd said. This is another incident where you just should have left, Judd said. But when you came back to the house that's not your home, and you tried to break in to get a girlfriend who didn't want to go with you, and you're shot and killed while breaking into the house with a tire iron, that was a bad choice. And it's the last bad choice he'll make. Judd said the medical examiner's office will determine whether the suspect was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The names of the people involved have not been released. The sheriff's office was still investigating the incident.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to update you about a shooting that occurred just prior to 6:40 this morning. And here's how it all began. Two couples, 4 people, went out for the evening last night. And they returned home at about 4 a.m. this morning. When I say return home, one person of the 4 lives at this residents whose address we're not permitted to hand out because they are a victim of a crime. So the 2 males and 2 females arrive at this particular residence, and after some period of time, an argument occurs between a girlfriend and a boyfriend, and it becomes a very heated argument. The boyfriend says, "I'm leaving," so he and the other male get in the car and leave. The girlfriend says, "I'm staying here," and the house she's staying at is not her house, but is the house of the victim. So the 2 ladies are at the victim's house. The 2 guys have now departed. They've left. The boyfriend who's driving gets to the end of the road and he says, "I'm going back and get her. She's going with me." So he turns around and he comes back to the house. Now the friend that's with him, who's not been drinking, says, "Hey, let's just leave. Let's just go." So he says, "No, she's going with me." So he arrives at the residence and he begins kicking and banging on the front door, demanding that his girlfriend come outside. No one answers the door. He immediately runs back to his vehicle and gets a tire iron. The friend is telling him again, let's just leave. He doesn't. He takes the tire iron, he runs up to the house to a window. It appears to be a bedroom window, and he screams and hollers, if you don't let me in, I'm knocking the windows out and coming in. There's no response. He takes the tire iron, he begins to break into the home. He tears through the screen, he breaks the glass with the tire iron, and the homeowner shoots, and there's where he dies. At the scene, you can see the tire iron at his feet. He's deceased from his gunshot wound. All of the information we give you this morning is preliminary information, and certainly it's subject to change as the investigation continues throughout the day. However, at this early stage of the investigation, it appears that the shooter was perfectly legal. The shooter was perfectly legal to defend her home from a burglar. This is another incident where you just should have left. But when you came back to the house, it's not your home, and you tried to break in to get a girlfriend who didn't want to go with you, and you're shot and killed while breaking into the house with a tire iron, that's a bad choice. And it's the last bad choice he'll make. So once again, the information we give you is totally preliminary. Anytime we're talking to you within 2 or 3 hours of the investigation, we're giving you the best information we know now. That's preliminarily the information that's been given to us by the witnesses at the scene. And it's pretty clear cut. What they said at this point matches up exactly to what we see at the crime scene, where he was committing a forcible felony by trying to break back into this house with a tire iron. Are there any questions?
Can you tell, was it just one shot fired?
We're determining how many shots were fired, but whether it was one or more shots, it was a fatal shot, obviously, that took him out, and he died immediately. He did not move from the front window that he was attempting to break into.
Was he under the influence of alcohol or drugs?
We have no idea. Obviously, that will be part of the medical examiner's investigation. However, he was drinking earlier in the evening. But his friend appears not to be under the influence of any alcohol, and his friend tells us during the interview that he doesn't drink, wasn't drinking last night, and doesn't appear to be drinking. But had our suspect to the home invasion listened to his friend and gotten back into the vehicle and left, he would be alive to continue his domestic conversation with his girlfriend. But once again, you can't break into people's homes. You can't take a tire iron and do a forcible felony. And from all indications, that's exactly what was happening.
Were the two women the only people inside?
The women were the only two people inside. The homeowner did the shooting. The person's girlfriend was not in the room when the event occurred, at least according to the preliminary information. But you have the right to protect yourself in your home and to be free from home invaders, armed burglars, and certainly he was armed with a tire iron and making an attempt to come into the window. She stopped him. She stopped him permanently.
Just to clarify, Sheriff, the other woman, not the girlfriend, but the second woman is the homeowner of
Yes.
the house? Okay.
Yes, she owns the home.
Do you have any ages of all four people roughly involved?
We will release that later today. We want to make sure that we complete our initial investigation, that we notify the next of kin, and then we will release that information.
Were they sleeping when he arrived, or were they still up from the evening?
No, there's every indication that they were not asleep, at least according to our initial information. All right? Thank you very much. We'll update you through the day as the investigation goes on. Our administrator, Carrie Horseman, is on call today, and you'll hear from her later today. Take care.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.